Sullivan. I'm a former IRS agent and teaching instructor with the IRS. I worked for IRS a decade. I've been in private practice for 4 decades. Welcome to my YouTube station. It's the home of the 5 minute or less video. Many of you have seen me on all my national broadcasts. There's been many of late, and you can see me and my team of former IRS agents, a great team at 777irs.com. You can book a Calendly appointment if you want. I do these videos for 3 reasons. So, you really get the truth. On YouTube, there is so much crap about IRS and resolving IRS debt that I would say 90% of the information that is out there, I don't know, I wouldn't give one grain of sand on the beach for it. 2, I want to educate you. And 3, I love to give you inside information from Internal Revenue Service, certainly when I can. So one of the things I want to tell you about is, if IRS is sending you letters and threatening letters, you can just really relax about these things. Let me tell you the process, and if you know the process, you'll learn to relax. You can either hire a professional, or you can work out this situation by yourself. It's important that you understand this. Everyone calls me on this phone with all their angst and their worries. They can't sleep, and the process is not as bad as people think. Of course, it's easy for me to say. I've worked about 10,000 cases, and I've been doing this for 50 years. So just let me tell you what the situation is so you can deal with your problem. When you got an IRS tax debt problem and you want to relax, you've got to understand what you have to do to stop IRS. And the process is so simple. You simply got to call IRS, and it stops the machine from going. Why? Because you've taken care of the problem. Many people have this debt and they're frozen and they don't know what to do. And that's when I get my calls, when they just don't know what to do. So here's what I want to tell you. If you have a small problem, just fix it yourself. You can go ahead and call IRS, but I'm about to tell you the process now. If in fact you're dealing with a large IRS debt, you do want to call a professional. But here's how the process works. You get all these letters coming out, and they're threatening letters, and IRS wants to do something. The only reason they're doing this is because you have not addressed the IRS problem. When you have not addressed the IRS problem, you're going to get the letters, and you have a lot to be worried about, because at the end of the letters, at the end of the rope for IRS, they are going to file federal tax liens. They're going to send out levies and wage garnishments. How do you stop them? You make a call to IRS. But let me tell you what you have to know before you go ahead and make an attempt to go ahead and settle this case. IRS is going to want a financial statement. At the service center, they want a 433F. A revenue officer is going to want the 433A. So what are they trying to do? They're just trying to go ahead and close their case with you. That's all they're trying to do. And how are they going to close the case? They're going to close the case either by putting you into a currently non-collectible, a payment agreement, or you can file an offer and compromise if you qualify. So what you have to do is you have to understand the IRS financial statement and your financial statement, so you will know what IRS is going to do with you when you go ahead and make that call. Why does IRS want the financial statement? How else are they going to get rid of the case? What IRS is going to do is they're going to look at your current financial statement on whichever of the forms. They're going to want it documented, and they make that determination, and they stop the computer system, and they stop the letters because you went ahead and closed the case. The key is knowing the IRS financial statement. IRS is going to take a close look at your assets, but more importantly, a really close look at your income to your expense ratio. What you have to know is that IRS is going to dig in and say, these are the only expenses that we will allow you to live on. So IRS is going to tell you what you can live on for food and clothing. By the way, you can Google this. IRS National Standards for Food and Clothing, Housing and Utilities, for car payments and operation of car. They dictate to you. So at the end of the day, once IRS goes through that financial statement, you're either going to go into a currently non-collectible or a payment agreement. Those really are the two options. But for those of you who really don't have a lot of money, or you may owe a lot of money, you can file an offer and compromise if you qualify. I taught the offer and compromise program. The first place you can go to is the IRS pre-qualifier tool, but that really doesn't tell the whole story. If you want to settle your debt, know this: you cannot settle your debt if you have the money to pay the tax. So if you owe $100,000 and you got $120,000 worth of assets and equity, they are not going to go ahead and settle your debt. What you want to do if you want to file an offer and compromise is you got to take that offer and compromise form and send it to somebody to review. That's what we do. We review them before we take any money. Make sure when these companies call or you call them, the people you're speaking to, make sure they're not salesmen. The only people that you can talk to and are going to truly resolve your debt are attorneys, CPAs, enrolled agents. Why? They're the only people licensed to go ahead and to talk to IRS. Well, if they're the only people that are licensed to talk to them, why are you going to talk to somebody else? It's absolutely insane, and it's more insane if you hire someone without speaking to the person who's going to work your case. That should make perfect sense. Stop being idiots and talk to the people that are actually going to work your case. We work your case. When you call our firm, we speak to a former IRS agent. Anyway, if you have questions, just go ahead and leave a question on. I try to get to them. I get a lot of them. I try to get to them every couple days. If you want us to represent you, we can. We're really good. Leave me a subscription. That's really important to me because it lets YouTube know we're doing a good job. This subscription is very helpful. Thank you so much for listening. I appreciate your time, and you can make your Calendarly appointment anytime. Thank you.